Okay. Hello. Welcome back to Stage Time, the podcast that takes you backstage before the artist goes on stage.
Look at that.
That's the exact same reaction. That's the exact same reaction I got the first time. Loving it. You join us once again in St. Pancras Clock Tower at my monthly music night live from the Clock Tower. The premise is simple. I invite two talented individuals to join me in a clock tower to sing songs. And that's what we're doing this evening, hopefully. Good. Today with me, I have Tadhg Daly. Welcome to the Clock Tower.
Thank you for having me.
The first clock tower you've been in?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Do I look at you or the camera?
I think just straight down the lens the entire time. No, you can look at me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the first clock tower I've been in.
Yeah. How are you enjoying it so far?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not really
Waiting for some excitement.
I've not done too much in here just yet. It's very big, cavernous.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to sound nice. There's fake candles.
Are you playing guitar or piano this evening?
Guitar. I can't play piano.
Oh, in which case, wasted on you. But that's fine. So this whole podcast is kind of around the premise of performing live.
Mm-hmm.
What's your kind of pre-show ritual? Do you have one? Do you get nervous?
I think I get nervous. I don't know. I don't get nervous in like a negative way, but I get like, is it excess butterflies, if you know what I mean? Like it's definitely something a little bit more than excitement. Yeah. But I think it's a good thing. I don't really have too much of like a ritual. I feel like I just have like a drink, not really more than one or two. Otherwise it all gets a bit weird. The chat gets really, really strange. Drink some water.
Nice.
That's about it, really.
Wow, rock and roll.
Yeah, big time.
Rock and roll isn't dead.
No,
not with you anyway.
Hug whoever I'm standing next to at the time.
Okay,
Jump on stage. Yeah.
And what's your? Do you think the? How many people have you played to? What's the biggest capacity you've played? The biggest, the smallest. I think I know the smallest.
You know
we all know the smallest. Yeah.
The smallest is 0.
Yeah.
The smallest, actually, we'll start with that. I played. Is it called? Lock 17 in Camden. God, there's a venue in Camden, Dingwalls.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
Above that, there's a bar called Lock 17.
And they just don't let anyone in.
Well, unfortunately, you are allowed in. No one decided to come in. There was a sound guy. This was in like 2013. I was a teenager. It's my first show in London. As a sound guy, and I played once. I was like, should I still play? Because there's nobody here.
You should always still play.
You should always still play. Yeah. And then, people say, you play to the sound guy, and he rolled a cigarette during the first song and walked out. So I was then actually playing on my own, which might be the smallest show ever played.
Did you finish the show?
Yeah.
I did
the whole set. And I still don't, I'm assuming there was someone kind of out of sight, but there was no barman.
Well, I mean, they probably called it a day.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I'm assuming there was a guy like sitting on a stool, kind of, he could just see if people were going to come in, but I couldn't see him at all. So for my purposes, I was literally the only person in there.
I think they're the best gigs to cut your teeth on.
I don't.
Yeah. It was pretty, do you not think it's like character? But if you can play that show, you can play any show.
I think if you can find some sort of passionate performance to nobody, then you're all right. Yeah.
That could have been your best ever performance and no one knew.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't at all. I actually, a really awkward memory I have from that is I forgot the lyrics to a song. And still kind of fumbled through, and then I was like, what am I doing? Who cares?
Sorry guys, just going to start that one again.
There's no one here. So that was the smallest. The biggest...
That's caught me off guard. That's really funny. Just the idea of you fumbling the bag and then still being awkward about it.
I really panicked.
Even though
I was devastated. And then the biggest one was, it would have been a support somewhere. I supported, I think James Blunt. I did a James Blunt, or actually another James Morrison, whoever was the bigger rooms for that. I think it was like 5,000 maybe.
Nice.
And I think that was definitely the biggest. I've played festivals where perhaps in the vicinity there was mulling around the main
creative
stage.
Accounting on that. Yeah,
right. So I can remember standing on a main stage very early, actually probably opening slot, and kind of looking out, and you see thousands of people, but there's maybe 50 looking at
just
you.
Just that guy from the bar, the sound guy, rolling a
leaving again.
Cigarette.
Passive aggressively following me around and leaving.
Do you find so? I mean, I guess you can't be that nervous for an empty show, other than just the dread of no one coming. But do you think there's a sweet spot for you between 0 and 5,000
Oh, in terms of like
capacity.
the nicest amount
Yeah.
to play to.
Because tonight, for example, is 50 people. Very intimate.
I mean, I do love those. I mean, I think like, you know, all of the kind of living room vibes, like tiny bars, like I think that's really nice because I don't know, it feels like a totally different thing. I don't know how really to describe it, but it doesn't feel so much like a show as it does a performance, if that makes sense. Like a show, you're thinking, you know, like I played my own kind of show, like a headline show last week, like a band and stuff. And it was like, I want to, you know, you think about, right, at this point, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put my guitar down. And then I'm going to, you know, and that you think about the performance of it, right? Whereas here it is try and connect with people, sit down, play the songs, read the room, see if they like it, you know, kind of maybe extend a chorus because people seem to be enjoying it or something, you know. So they feel like two entirely different art forms.
It's very intuitive.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thankfully here the corridor's so long that people won't go for a cigarette. So
they might
well try. Yeah. I hope he's here tonight. I hope he's like your biggest fan. So the more intimate, I think, is more the.
I think so, but then listen. You know, I'm also not playing to 1,000 people every night.
Well, I was just going to offer you a 10,000 capacity show, but if you don't want
thanks.
to, that's fine.
Thank you.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So where did music start for you? Where are you from originally?
Jersey, Channel Islands.
You were from the Channel Islands.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was that growing up?
Nice in some ways, you know, it's kind of nice and like sheltered in a...
What's the population?
100,000.
Okay.
Maybe 120 or something.
Yeah.
It's like a very small town vibes, you know what I mean? So there's loads of good stuff about it, but then it's a bit like everybody knows everyone.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like bitchy in a way, you know, like that kind of thing. Not everyone obviously, but there is that energy running through it, and I was a bit desperate to get out. I think if you aren't someone that wants to work in finance or in a building site, you need to go. And I worked on a building site and it was terrible.
Did you? Okay.
Oh my gosh, so bad. I was a labourer. I hate that they call it this, but specific job title, an unskilled labourer. Why call it that? You could have a skilled labourer and then just a labourer, but no, an unskilled labourer.
Wow, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah, that's what I was. So I had to get out.
But you were particularly unskilled.
Particularly
more
unskilled,
than most. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But it was cool. I grew up also surfing all the time, and the weather's like probably better than the UK, I think. So like it's a bit warmer, like more often.
Do you think it influenced your music because of where you were geographic? I'm always interested how geography plays a.
I think it actually it influenced it in a way that I think is for the better, but also has its drawbacks. Where I don't know that I was as up to date as people living in the UK. You know what I mean? So like I was just. And maybe I would have been the same if I was in the UK, but like I felt like I had no idea what was going on currently, and I was just listening to like Nirvana, like
loop.
Bands that I thought were cool but were not even existing anymore, really, you know. And I kind of just like macro listened to stuff like that, and got to the UK and was like, everyone was so like, you know, I went to like, it's called BIM now, but it was tech music school. Like everyone was so on the button and on the pulse of what's going on right now. And I just had no idea. And I was like, I didn't even know that you had to like think about that. I just thought you just picked up the guitar.
You just arrived with a dream.
Yeah, pretty much.
Guitar and a dream.
I was like the really like stereotypical kind of like beachy guy rocking up to the city. Like, what's going on
with
here,
your
man?
Walkman.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess it did shape it in a way, but I don't, obviously there's lots of people in the UK that just listen to that stuff too. So
did you feel like you had to come here in order to pursue?
Yeah, I don't think there's too much. Well, there's no infrastructure for like the arts even really in Jersey. I mean, the Jersey Arts Trust might have something to say about that. Sorry, guys. They've also funded my entire career. So we cut that bit
Would
out.
you look at that?
What I meant was...
You ungrateful sod.
That's what I meant. No, but like it's... You know, if you want to play gigs, right? You're going to play to the same people all the time. The end is kind of... a lot closer, you know what I mean? Like, whereas in the UK, it feels like potential is limitless, you know? It's funny, I always like, when I talk to people, you know, like, oh, when did you know you want to do this or do that? Like, I honestly didn't. Like,
well, it's because you were crap at being a labourer.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to find something
terrible
else.
At the guitar as well. So I just didn't know it was an option. But I didn't know it was an option. It never occurred to me you could just go out and be like an artist. Like, you know, like, so let's say like Blink-182 band I listen to a lot of the time, right? They were just this other thing. Yeah. You know, like it wasn't something that you could maybe
Nothing
do.
ever twigged. It's the same with songwriting. I never knew that was a thing.
Right.
As a profession or...
me too. And that's kind of what that's actually what ended up taking me into the industry a bit more, was more like the writing world, you know. And it was even still then, like writing for people who were releasing music, I was still, never occurred to me that I could probably do that, you know.
This mystical plane in which people are existing.
And it sounds so ridiculous.
But you don't get caught. No one in careers at school is going to be like,
no one tells you.
You know, you can be a doctor, a lawyer, or
a pop star.
A pop star. Well, there's no real institutions you can. I mean, you do. I mean, BIM.
Yeah.
Brit School, all those things they try and prep you.
Yeah, that was when I suppose. But I don't think they're even really. When I went to anyway, it wasn't preparing artists. It was like, if you want to get really sick of the guitar, or like, well, I mean, I guess there was maybe more artist focused stuff, but
it's such a subjective career path anyway.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
you and I could end up in the same position in 20 years' time, but getting there would have been so different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No two artist careers are the same, and
I think that's kind of the point as well, isn't it? Like
having your own stamp on it.
Yeah, and your perspective is what like leads you to write something, or like want to even write something.
Yeah.
If you are the same one, there'd be like one artist, right?
So what was your course at BIM?
What was it called? Popular Music Performance. I think Popular Music Performance, which was like, it felt like an amalgamation of like all of them. So there was like a songwriting course. You did like this, and sorry, anyone who designed this course, I went there, but this really weird thing.
You're just pissing people off like
big time. I'm putting it down today, man. All right? I'm here to right some wrongs. You did this thing called LPW, and you like.
Tell me more.
And I'm assuming it stands for live performance workshop. I never actually asked, but that's what it was. So they put you in. Everyone learns the same songs, and you got drummers, guitar players, bassists, singers and all that.
And you fight to the death.
And you kill each other. And you all get up and play just to your classmates on a stage or in a pub. Sometimes they just take you to the pub to do it. And when I tell you, it was the most pointless thing I've ever done in my life.
Did you critique each other, or is it just literally performing and...
The teachers critiques you.
Yeah.
But like...
But they're hammered at the bar. Unskilled labourer.
A little bit.
Unskilled musician, my mate.
I think there's a reason BIM bought Tech Music School. It wasn't because of the... No, I'm not going to say.
This is incredible.
Yeah, this is awful.
You're making me look great right now. I'm just like the nicest guy.
I'll be the first artist to get cancelled before he makes it. But they would just kind of tell you, and I'm not exaggerating, they'd be like, oh yeah, that was good. Next person.
Good.
Or maybe more energy. You go, oh, okay, cool. More energy. It sounds. I just practiced 2 weeks.
But it was a song about my dead dog, so I don't think it needed much more energy than I gave it.
Oh, that was the other one. Songwriting class. You could get told the song was wrong, and I personally will never understand that because what?
But this is why it's so subjective.
Yeah, wrong. And then I got told once it was because and I don't know, actually maybe there is an argument for this, I'm not sure, but like it was because we were writing pop songs, right? And it was about writing a pop structure, and it's like I didn't include a bridge in a song, a middle eight, right? And I didn't personally feel like it needed one. Clearly the teacher did.
Yeah.
And maybe I missed the point, and the point was, to follow this traditional structure. I don't know, but he was just like, it's not correct. It's like the pop formula is this. And I remember sitting there, like looking at the guy next to me, a guy called Mikolas, who I studied with, and we were just like, what is going on? That makes no sense. Like, you want me to put a bad section in the song?
Yeah.
So even if that was the point of the class, then the class is the dumbest thing I've ever been to, because...
So you didn't enjoy it?
I loved it. Yeah. I'm an ambassador for tech now. No, I didn't. I dropped out.
Okay, you did,
yeah. I did drop out. I just was like, I rang my mum one day, and I was just like, I know... Like, because you have to, my parents paid for me as well. I was lucky enough, and like I didn't get accepted for the grant because of the type of course it was or something. Mm-hmm. It's much cheaper than other things, but it was like $3,000 for a year.
Yeah.
And like,
which at the time was like, mine was the same. It's a lot of money, but now it's like triple that.
And I had this guilt. I was like, oh my God, my parents are there working full-time jobs.
Yeah.
They've sent me to this place, and I absolutely hate it. So I rang my mum and I told her, and she was like, just don't waste your time. Like, don't wait. You're wasting our time if you do that. Go out now and start doing something else that will make you some money. Then you can pay us back.
Yeah.
Which
so
obviously,
how's that going?
Not well. I'm about 20 grand in the hole. No, I'm not. But not well. No. Music's tough, man. Music is tough.
So what's the? That's the thing I was going to talk about, the geography of music. Kind of. Have you toured outside of the UK much? Have you played outside the UK much?
Yeah, done kind of all of Europe at this point. I think.
Any favourites?
In Europe,
Just more generic territories rather than specific shows. But
yeah, I mean, Germany, like, is the crowds in Germany are insane. Right?
Also, just the riders and stuff. I feel like for anyone listening who isn't a musician and hasn't played in the UK, if you play any show in the UK, unless you're top tier, you're just shoved in a black room at the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For
and
sure.
like expected just to figure it out.
Yeah.
You go to Germany,
they roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, there's a spread on arrival.
Yeah. Yeah,
so you've already got your snacks going.
Yeah,
they
totally.
Get made dinner or paid for dinner.
Oh yeah, the buyouts are mad as well. Mad. Like I've never actually managed to spend the buyout.
No, yeah, it's profit, mate. Straight profit.
Exactly, yeah. And like,
and the crowds are
people just love music there. So I think probably there, and also Budapest as well. Like I've never played a bad show there. I've been back and forth.
Well, you might have played a bad show.
I've been terrible.
You had a great time.
And the crowd still loved it. It really says something about the Hungarian music scene, you know? Oh wait, no, that sounded really negative actually. I mean, not the artist. Not the artist.
You might as well just keep going at this point.
I hate that.
No, we're just going to sit here in silence for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So I would agree. I think Germany is I don't think I've had any bad experiences that really stand out for me out of the UK anyway, but I think Germany stands out as music lovers.
Yeah.
You just turn up and listen to music.
Yeah, and all the venues are gorgeous as well. Like
they are, yeah.
All the venues are like this is how bad sometimes we have it in the UK. The fact that I'm saying this, but they're all purpose-built venues.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, and it's fine because there is amazing venues here. Yeah. But you do play a lot of shows that like it is a venue, but it's like maybe they don't have all the right gear. You rock up, oh, this is broken. We're missing that.
You have to walk 3 miles to get to stage through the crowd,
or it's in some dodgy old clock tower.
Yeah,
like.
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the rider here isn't great actually. There's some grapes I bought from M&S actually. Top tier. Don't worry about it. So do you find that city to city, territory to territory, your music kind of, or even your stage performance, your kind of persona on stage has to change and adapt? Or do you kind of just stay true to a straight line and then just plow through the...
I just keep it lit, man. just keep going. I'm my awkward, ridiculous self at every show. And what I always forget to do as well is learn a little bit of the language, because you're meant to do that, right? You're supposed to,
that's the only way I can save the day.
Yeah, no.
So I go on with basic hellos and thank yous. Oh, someone's got an email, probably me. Probably me. Definitely not you. Please and thank yous, hellos, and then I usually come in with a fact of the town or city.
Oh wow!
But I was in Dresden once, and I didn't have one, so I said, "What's good about Dresden, guys?" And someone at the back went, "They're famous for the Nazis."
Oh, wow.
And then someone in the other corner was like, "And a big river." Lead with the river, surely.
Yeah, but big time, yeah. You never
surely lead with the river. Yeah, never. Top tip.
Yeah.
So you don't know the language. I mean, that should be a...
No, I don't. And that's just really disrespectful. And that's it.
Oh, he's found a conscience.
No, I don't feel bad about it. It really is what it is.
And so do you... Because that's the only... Do you get nervous before shows?
I think...
Out there?
The smaller the show, I do, weirdly. Because like here, it's like... And again, it's that good nerves, but everyone's looking at you, you know what I mean? The bigger shows, like you feel a bit like there's just a blur of people.
Because it's a blank expression if you're in a different country. And a joke that might have got a laugh or like a bit of information that might have got a reaction doesn't land.
That's where I wouldn't say I'm ever like nervous about it, but on stage it always hits me and I go, oh, this is what I usually say in like the UK or wherever. That's not going to work. Like they're not going to. It's like I feel like whatever humor I'm able to muster up on stage is pretty niche. Anyway.
Yeah.
And like oftentimes, and you know, if you get, actually, maybe I'm just not funny.
Like the songs about
people don't get it, but
the songs about fish and chips. You know, fish and chips. And I was like, no,
I don't.
I don't get it.
And even when they do find it funny, sometimes I feel like
they're being polite.
Yeah. I can't really tell. You know, but you get some laughs and you're like, that wasn't funny. I don't know, man.
That's your fault for laughing out. So if someone was starting out, if little Tadhg came to you, to Big Tadhg, and was like, come on, give me some advice for starting out as an artist.
Yeah.
Performing, writing, whatever. What's your, other than not do it?
It would be, I mean, it's such a basic one, but just don't think about it loads and just do it. Like, just actually do it. Because I honestly still know people, I have friends that we kind of started out together that are sitting on their projects. You know, that they are, and I'm sure you do as well, where it's like, and you know they're talented, they're really good songs, and like, you know, there maybe is an argument to like, oh, you got to get everything like ready and right and perfect. But I'm like, 12 years is a long time to get it perfect. You know what I mean? It might just be already whatever it's going to be.
Also, fail quicker. I know it's such a buzz term and like
100%.
Yo, bro, rising ground and fail quicker. But it is. I think build up that muscle of just like messing up and starting again.
Like I think you've got to like just. I don't want to say get bad songs out there because they're not bad, are they?
Well, there is that Sheeran analogy, the Ed Sheeran tap analogy.
What's that?
I mean, I don't know if his metaphor is to do with money in terms of the billions he has. But he's just saying with writing, you should open the tap and usually all this sludge comes out and that's the bad stuff.
Right. Yeah,
you just got to work through it till the good stuff comes.
Yeah. I think I heard also Chris Stapleton talking about that. He said like you should always finish a song.
Yeah.
Because like, if you don't finish it, someone like your ideas from that one will like bleed into the next one or something, if you know what I mean. And I think that's quite similar in terms of just get it out, do it. Even if you don't release it, whatever, but just like be proactive and do stuff and play shows and like
to no one and
to no
someone.
one, yeah, to no one, and then eventually to a few people, and then I think I played so many shows. I don't know about you, but I played so many shows to like dead rooms for years, and like.
We should drive. I used to be in a band. We used to travel 3 hours to get paid 50 quid.
Mine was in a band also, and we just toured around.
Again,
lost so much money, and I loved it though. Like, I think if you don't love that part of it, maybe I feel like you maybe aren't going to love the good ones.
I do wonder with people who, not naming names, people can probably find their own versions of this, but people that I feel like the big industry button was just pressed.
Yeah,
so they came out of obscurity and just
well,
exactly, and they just blew up. They're playing like stadiums within a year. I just wonder, where's the foundation? Where's your stage? I feel like you're kind of copying other people at that point.
Totally.
Not as some people are born performers, but I just think, where's the learning how to manage a rowdy crowd, or when they're not coming near the front and you have to beg them?
You see it as well. I mean, you see, anytime you see a video of someone like having a bit of a hissy fit on stage or something, it's never like a mid-level touring artist. It's a massive artist that has probably skyrocketed. I think it's because
and doesn't know how lucky they are just to be there in the first place.
Totally, and probably doesn't know how to accept something that I definitely know how to accept, which is sometimes you're a bit rubbish, and that's fine. And they might think that night.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, can't get angry at the crowd, right? It's like maybe they didn't enjoy it. I mean, you're the entertainer, right? It's like they don't owe you something. No. I think that's only something you learn from playing to no one.
I think also I find there's ways of managing. It depends when you play. If you play a gig on a Friday night and it's not your crowd, so if you do a support slot, I find that sometimes they're quite rowdy.
Yeah.
And I mean, we both play sad songs quite a bit. I play songs that I definitely do want people to listen to and kind of like respect a bit. And so I'll just hold an awkward silence for as long as I can. Because I've done it again, because I've done it for years. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%.
I've got nowhere to be, my friend.
The biggest thing I reckon you learn about like playing clubs and stuff like that is if you need the room to be quieter, you be quieter, not louder, because they'll match you. I just really softly play the guitar and I'm like, it ain't getting louder until you're as quiet as me. Because if you start going really loud, they'll try and go 100%. Above you, you know? Yeah. And see, Lewis Capaldi doesn't know that. There, I named it. I'm joking. He obviously does know that as well. It's
going to be a really obscure group of people that come after you after this podcast.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready. Come on, Lewis.
The funding body of Jersey, Bim and Lewis Capaldi. quite incredible.
Yeah. Well, Lewis has always been jealous of me. So it won't be the first time.
I'm sure. Driving around in his G-Wagon and crying in his mansion somewhere.
Exactly. I have a Ford Fiesta and I never cry.
Fair play.
I always cry.
Just that image of you crying in a Ford Fiesta, I think it feels like an album title. Another question I like asking people is, what's your why?
Like to do any of it, the music, all of it.
Just why bother? Because at the end of the day, I know, you know, it is tough.
Yeah.
But I personally couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah, right. There you go. It's just, it sounds so negative, but it's just, I unfortunately have to. You know? It is the only thing.
God, if you're not feeling inspired, I don't know what's going to give it to you.
It's the only
You heard it here first.
That kind of feels fulfilling. I mean, it feels like an unreasonable like must. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it feels a bit.
It's non-negotiable.
Yeah, totally. I would if someone else was ever like, I'm thinking about stopping music, I'd be like, do it. Like if you're there, do it, man. Like if you've got that out, and you reckon you could just be happy doing something that was a little bit more
Stable.
Yeah. And financially lucrative.
Yeah.
Then just do it, man. But like, you have to weirdly love all of the bad stuff about it.
Well, I always say to people, there's people I know who are far more gifted and talented than I'll ever be, but they just dropped out or stopped.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately I see a lot of people who succeed in this. It's an endurance race.
Yeah, totally.
So you might not even be the best.
It really is. That my girlfriend said to me the other day, she was just like, what was it? It really like resonated with me actually. She was like, no one fails, they just quit or something like that, you know? And
I've heard that one before as well.
I was like, oh, I've never
heard
that.
Yeah. It's so true.
And it kind of actually gave me a bit of peace as well. Because I don't know about you, but like, I just go through phases of feeling I do something that is good and I feel really accomplished. And then I'm like, what am I doing?
I'd say I'm one of the biggest optimists as well. And I'm still, now and again, we'll have days I'm like, who am I kidding? You have to be a bit delusional, I think.
Yeah, totally. And like,
you have to love it.
It's when you're starting to go, right, where is the next paycheck? I'm starting to go, God, this is kind of separate, but also like, I worked in a coffee shop before going like kind of more full-time into music, and I miss it so much sometimes.
Yeah.
Just like not doing something that I wasn't like deeply passionate about and just turning up and chatting to people and just putting a shift in.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're doing music, one of the hardest bits I think is you care so deeply about every email, every message, every call, every song you make, just everything.
You can get too close to it.
And it's exhausting. Yeah,
I do remember actually, I hope she probably won't mind me saying it, but Billy Martin went back and worked in bars. Didn't need to, was doing so well with her career, and didn't need to be there. But
I completely get that.
Picking up stories from people, meeting people, absorbing yourself in a city, and
totally,
because it's quite isolating otherwise.
Totally. I also kind of miss not needing music to make me money. Sometimes I'm pretty sure I don't, but sometimes I wonder, like, do I do it differently now? And like, would I be doing it? You know, if it was just none of that attached to it, would I be doing a different like type
would
of music?
Would it sound different?
Yeah, totally. I do wonder it. But
yeah, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I think also there's a thing around, for me, if I was in a profession that I could listen to music while I was working.
Yeah.
So if I was a graphic designer, would love nothing more than to sling on an album and just listen.
Yeah.
But we can't.
No, I listen to so much less music, like properly, than everyone I know that doesn't work in music.
Yeah.
I want to listen to a podcast or read a book or something, you know.
And people turn to you at a pub quiz and go, "Oh, it's a music round."
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know anything.
No idea. Yeah.
And I haven't listened to a song other than mine or my friends.
100%. Yeah. Unless
years.
it's like randomly about the Smashing Pumpkins' first 3 albums or something. Like, I've got nothing for you.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that was very insightful.
Yeah. I'm very insightful now.
Oh, what a way to end that. That's terrible. Thank you so much for joining us on Stage Time.
Thanks for having me. This
is going to be fun this evening. It'll be fun to
I can't wait.
See you flop in here.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to.
Yeah. I really hope you enjoy it. It's a very intimate crowd.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And they usually respond really well. But yeah, Tadhg Daly, thank you for being on the podcast. I think maybe an awkward wave to camera now would be great. Cheers.